Well, hello and welcome to this exercise on quadratic sequence formula. Uh, this question has been suggested to me by one of my subscribers. Now, the first part of this question, which you got here, part A, that is okay for AS level, and the second part is okay for GCSE 91 or IGCSE for that matter. Now, it says a quadratic sequence can be written as u sub n is equal to an squared plus bn plus c. Show that the second difference is equal to a. Now, what I've done here is for the sake of clarity, I've created a table here. Now, if n is 0, if n is 0, which is u sub 0, a times a times 0 squared is 0, b times 0 is 0, and we've got c there. So in effect, our first term then becomes u sub 0 is equal to c. U sub 0 is c. Now, our first term is when n has got the value of 1. So that means that u sub 1 will be a times 1 squared plus b times 1 plus c, as it were. Okay, so we end up writing that u sub 1 is a plus b plus c. Similarly, u sub 2 is when n has got the value of 2, so we get n times 2 squared plus b times 2 plus c, as it were. So u sub 2 then becomes or has the value of 4a plus 2b plus c. Similarly, u sub 3 will be 9a plus 3b plus c. U sub 4 will be 16a plus 4b plus c, and u sub 5 will be 25a plus 5b plus c. Okay. Now, we now need to find the first difference between consecutive terms. So, for instance, we want to find the first difference between the second term and the first term. We end up with 4a plus 2b plus c minus a plus b plus c. The c is cancelled out, so we end up with 3a. We end up with 3a plus b. The first difference between the third term and the second term will be 9a plus 3b plus c minus 4a plus 2b plus c, and we end up with 5a plus b. The first difference between the fourth term and the third term becomes 16a minus 9a plus 3b and 4b minus 3b, and this is cancelled out. We end up again with 7a plus b. Now, note here that these are going up in or by 2a each time. So we expect in here to have the value of 7a plus b plus 2a, which is 9a plus b. So we should expect to have it in there 9a plus b. Now, the first difference between the first term and the zeroth term is a plus b plus c minus c, and we end up with a plus b. Now, note here that this follows the same pattern of going up by 2a's each time. Okay? Right. And then for the second difference, so we're going to end up with 5a plus b minus 3a plus b give us 2a, so we end up with 2a each time and 2a there as well. So because that is constant, because that is a constant term 2a in the second difference there, that indicates to us that we've now that this is indeed a quadratic sequence, as it were. Okay. Now, moving on, this is the second part of this question here, which is definitely 9 to 1. So It says find the fifth term of this sequence and hence or otherwise find the formula for the quadratic sequence 2, 10, 22, and 38. So again, I've created some sort of table here for clarity. You've got the 0th term, the first term, the second term, the third term, the fourth term, and the fifth term, which you have to find. Now, we don't have this here. Now, first difference and second difference. Now, the first difference between the second term and the first term is 10 minus 2, and that should give us 8. The first difference between the third term and the second term is 22 minus 10, and that should give us a value of 12. The first difference between the fourth term and the third term is 16, because 38 minus 22 will give us 16. So we expect that the first difference between the fourth term and the fifth term has got to be 20, because they're going up by 4s. So in here we should have 20 there. So if we add 20 to 38, we should get 58. So the fifth term is 58. Now, what about the what about the 0th term? Now, we know that the first difference are going down. If you're going from right to left, going down by 4s. So we expect that 8 minus 4 should give us 4, and that is the first difference between the first term and the 0th term. Now, to find the 0th term, if we do 2 minus 4 should give us the value of negative 2 there, and negative 2 should be u sub 0, and that should be our 0th. That should be our 0th term, as it were. Okay. Now we need to find the second difference then. So if we do 12 minus 8 will give us 4, 60 minus 12 will give us 4, 20 minus 16 will give us 4, and 8 minus 4 will give us 4. So now we've got a constant value of, we've got a constant value of 4 there, which now indicates to us that this sequence there is a quadratic sequence. Okay, right. Now, to find the formula, we know 2a is 4, because that's 2a is 4. Okay, 2a is 4. Now, we then do 2a is equal to 4. So a is 4 divided by 2, which is 2. So a has got a value of 2. A plus b there is 4, because that's a plus b there, and that's a plus b there. So a plus b is 4. So we know a is 2. 2 plus b is 4. So b has got the value of 4 minus 2, and we end up with 2. We already know that c has got the value of minus 2 there. So c here is minus 2. So that's c there. Right. Now, so we can also find the value of b by saying that a plus b plus c is equal to the first term. A plus b plus c is u sub 1, and the first term here is 2. So we've got 2 plus b plus c, which is minus negative 2. These 2's we cancel out, so we end up with b as having the value of 2, which agrees with what you've got there. So now our formula for this sequence, u sub n, then becomes 2n squared plus 2n minus 2, or 2n squared plus n minus 1. Hope that makes sense. Now for the next slide. Now this bit I've made up myself, this question here. And it says, find the fifth term and the formula for the sequence 3, 5, 8, and 12. Again, we still got this generic formula for a quadratic sequence there. U sub n is equal to an squared plus bn plus c. Okay, and as usual, I've got my zeroth term there, which we have to find. Right, and so, so u sub 1, when n is 1, we've got a plus b plus c, which is 3. So this is our first term, 3 there. U sub 1 is 3. And u sub 1 is a plus b plus c, which is 3 there. Right. And u sub 2 will be 4a plus 2b plus c, and that's 5. U sub 3 is 8. U sub 4 is 12. U sub 5 we have to find. Now we need to find the first difference between consecutive terms. So the first difference between the second term and the first term will be 5 minus 3, and that gives us a value of 2. The first difference between the third term and the second term is 8 minus 5, and that's 3. The first difference between the fourth term and the third term is 12 minus 8, and that's 4. Now note here that these are going up, are going up in 1, so that's a difference of 1 there, difference of 4 there. So we expect in here, in this cell here, 5. So now if we do in there, we end up with 5. So the first difference between the first term and the zeroth term is going to be 1 there. So the fifth term is 17, 5 plus 12 is 17. So the fifth term is 17, and the first difference between the first term and the zeroth term is 1. Okay? Now, if that's 1, if that is 1, we need to find the zeroth term. So the zeroth term is going to be 3 minus 1, which is 2. So in here, we should have the value of 2. So that will give us the value of c. So we then have in there that c is 2. U sub 0 is 2. And that is the value of c. Now, we now need to find the second difference now. So we do 2 minus 1 is 1, 3 minus 2 is 1, 4 minus 3 is 1, 5 minus 4 is 1. So because the second difference is a constant, because the second difference is a constant of 1 there, it means that our sequence is a quadratic sequence there. Right, so we now have this, that 2a is equal to 1. So if 2a is 1, a will be 1 over 2, which is a half. Okay, so we can find b. We are now in a position to find b either by saying that a plus b is 1, because we know a already, or we can say a plus b plus c is equal to 3 there, the first term, because we know a, we know c. Right, so what I've done here is to say, well, the first bit, a plus b is 1. A plus b is 1. So we know a is a half plus b is 1. So b is 1 minus a half, and we've got a half there. Or we can say that a plus b plus c is 3, because 3 is the first term. We know a, we know c. So a half plus b plus 2 is equal to 3. So b will be 3 minus 2.5 there. So b has got the value of a half, which coincides with what you got there. Okay? So now our formula then becomes u sub n is equal to half n squared plus a half n plus 2. And I hope all that made some sense, and please subscribe, watch some of my other videos. Thank you very much, and bye bye now. Bye bye.